Photos, photos, photos. There's more than meets the eye. When we talk to people about photos for their property, people always assume it's just the first photos that were taken that were put on the profile for their property. In reality, photos are a vital cornerstone of managing the property, and we use photos across a huge variety of different areas in the property. Photos are not just potential guests will see on the website. I'll go through each of them and to give you an idea of how photos work. The first and most simple is the initial inspection. If a property manager arrives at the property to meet you, we would go through, look at the property, give you an assessment, give you an idea of strengths and weaknesses. At that stage, it is not unusual for us to ask to please take some photos. It helps us keep what the property looks like, the layout and etc. in mind, and it helps with listing areas where we may see of concern. It may be a cleanliness issue, we take a photo, it may be paint, it may be a couple of small minor things. So the initial time we take photos is that first time when we come to meet you at the property, and we may take a number of photos then just for our own benefit in establishing the baseline for that property. Number two, professional photos. This is the one that people most often think the only lot of photos we take and that's all we would need. And I say professional photos quite deliberately. We don't believe that photos taken by your property manager with their iPhone, iPad, whatever, are sufficient. Photos are the guests or potential guests' window onto your property. They have to be done professionally and they have to be done in the best possible light. And when we say professionally, we don't just mean you've hired a photographer and they've taken some lovely arty photos and they look sensational. They have to be practical Airbnb photos. We took on a property where it was a 3-bedroom property, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. The owners had a friend who was what's a polite way of saying it, an arty Instagram photographer, well acclaimed photographer, beautiful pictures. And sure enough, when we came in, they'd taken a lot of beautiful pictures. The owner was super proud, gave them to me, and then was more than shocked when I said they're unusable. They were unusable because they weren't Airbnb quality photos. They were taken technically beautifully, but we do not need 4 pictures of a lamp. We don't need 2 pictures of a particular chair, a sideboard, variety of other vases and things around the property, but then not one photo of any of the 3 bedrooms, not one photo of the kitchen. The only photo of the kitchen, back in the corner of the lounge, looking across the lounge, in the distance you could see the kitchen. But what we needed was a close-up picture of the kitchen showing all the amenities, showing, yep, there is a hot plate, there is an oven, there is a microwave, there is etc, etc. Completely useless. The exterior of the property, it had a small plunge pool. No photo of the plunge pool, but there's about 6 photos of plants in the yard. Now, nice plants, but Airbnb, number 1 searched item is a pool. Let's have the photo of the pool. Pool is a draw card. So if you get professional photos, get them done properly. And they've got to be practical. The other thing is, and this has come in the last, say, 2 years, drone photos. Drone photos are fantastic. Drone photos show your property off in the best light. They show its location. If you've got a property that's close to the beach, you can write that all you want, but if you show a drone photo, or 2 or 3, and here's your property, there's the beach. You don't have to write a long description, just it's obvious how close you are. So drone photos, set it in the landscape. They're beautiful. They enable people that are not just close, but more so people who are further away, interstate or even overseas, to get an idea of where your property is located and where it sits in the landscape. Drone photos are fantastic. The other element of professional photos you have taken, the exterior photos of pool, garden, things in the yard, but also the local coffee shop. How far away are the local shops? How far away is the coffee shop, the restaurant, the butchers, the fish and chip, the park, the playground, the beach, the wharf? So any of those local attractions, they should be included. So in a normal property, let's say we've taken 30 photos, we would not think it unusual where 8 to 10 of those are of photos off property. And because if you've got a guest who's a fair distance away, or they're interstate or even overseas, they can see your property, they can see the yard and the amenities there, but then they get to see the exterior property, the exterior attractions and features to go, oh, look at that, look at that, look at that. Excellent. We're close to these things. Here's a booking. It'll help you no end. I did say there are a number of different areas and uses for photos, and this is the third of those, which is insurance and asset protection photos. By that, we take over a property before the house has been, or the unit, apartment, cottage has been set up. Our cleaners have been in, it's styled, it's ready to go. But before the first guests walk in the door, we should be in and take multiple photos. Now, it's not unusual, especially for a larger house, to take over 300 photos. And that's everything from doors to handles to door frames to shower heads to taps to bench tops, countertops, vanity units, walls, floors. The reason we do that is our benchmark to show at the start of the property all of these things were in an excellent condition and exactly how they are. And that is our reference point to all the time to make sure if anything happens, we have a point of comparison at the start. For instance, if the floor's got a black mark on it where something's happened and that's there and it's there forever, when we've taken over, well, we need to have taken a photo of that and be aware, and then not be trying to say to a guest that they've done it because there's a mark there now. The fact that we've got a record showing this is where it is when it starts, and ongoing updating of photos. I'll give you a practical why this is really good. About 5 or 6 years ago, might be 6 years ago now, a beautiful house we have in Minyama, 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, multiple lounge rooms, waterfront, property's ready, property's styled, insurance cover is taken out on the property, both for the building itself and then contents damage internally on the property. As soon as that's done, we've taken all the photos. We've taken in excess of 300 photos. Downstairs, the floor and downstairs was only a ground level house. The floor was a floating bamboo floor. After I think it was our second guest, the cleaners had been in to clean. We popped in to see that the cleaners had done as we wanted. And when we got in, my wife Julia said, look at the floor over there, around the dining table. Do you think there's something wrong with it? I said, I don't know. And she said, I don't think it was like that before. And she walked over to have a look. And as she did, when she got closer to the table, water started coming up in between the floating bamboo floorboards. And what we found was that in the kitchen, the water pipe that ran to the front where you would fill up a glass of water had actually burst. And it had been flooding the bottom of the house for the last 24 hours. Cleaners had finished, they'd left, everything's fine, water pipe bursts. We've gone around to check it the next day and look out, it's flooded and wrecked the floor. We put in an insurance claim with the insurance company. Initially, they thought it may have been insurance fraud because we'd just taken out the policy and then there's a claim. They sent an assessor out, and interestingly, what they do is, do you have any photos of how this was? Yep, we do. We provided all the photos of what the floor looked like, and then they came back and said, that's fine, we'll repair it. It was a $60,000, pull up all the floorboards, the 100 metres of skirting, have it all redone. Now, talking to the assessor on the final viewing we went through to check it for that we were happy on behalf of the owners that everything was fine, he said to me that they checked the photos, and I said, all right. And he said, what we do is we check that what date were the photos taken. And I said, okay. And he said, for instance, you took the insurance on the 1st. I said, right. You took the photos on the 3rd. So 2 days after insurance policy started, and then it shows it perfectly. 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, it's ruined. And we look at it and go, well, we know it's an accident. We know it's happened. We know that there's no way we can get out of it, and we paid the claim. Without those photos showing what it was like beforehand, they would have knocked back the claim. So for you, for insurance, for managing your risk, to making sure that you know exactly what's happened, that you can produce evidence at any time, you must have the comprehensive asset protection photos, and you can update those from time to time. Next one, For photos is photos of damage. If a guest has been to a property and has caused damage, whether it be accidental, whether it be deliberate or malicious, however damage was caused, whether the guest has notified you or not notified you, we need to take photos. In our world, our common saying is, if we don't have a photo, it didn't happen. And what we find is you will say to a guest, there is a stain on the carpet, on the couch. How did that happen? And they'll say, have you got a photo of that? And you say, I have. I'll send you 3 or 4 or 5. And you send the photos. But if you say, oh, no, I haven't. And they say, oh, no, there was already a stain there. No, sorry, it wasn't us. You have to have photos of the damage. So as you arrive, and it'll initially be a guest or our cleaning our cleaner will arrive and see the damage, our cleaning supervisor, or it could even be our maintenance guy has been out there and he's beaten the cleaner there, he was doing something and he's seen the damage. And now damage can also be missing items. Cleaner walks into a bedroom and there's 2 bedside lamps. They know every double, queen, king bed has got 2 bedside lamps. One missing, even if you can't find it, you know the guest has broken it or taken it. So you must have photos. So first thing they do, when they arrive, the cleaner, first thing, walk through the property. Is there rubbish? Is there damage? Is there mess? Is there something untoward? Photo. They are also instructed to put a set of car keys or something next to it, and they take a photo to show the size of a damage or mark on a wall in relative. Otherwise, they're doing a close-up and it looks like someone could put their head in it. It's only the size of your thumbnail. So photos of damage are vital. The next is photos by cleaners. And I don't just mean what I spoke about recently, the previous comment, which was photos of damage. I mean, at the end of every single solitary clean that our cleaners do, they take photos of the entire property. They take photos of every bedroom. They take photos of bathroom, multiple in the bathroom, shower walls. They take photos of inside the toilet, lift the lids, photo inside the toilet. I'll tell you why they take that one inside the toilet. Because we've now had 5 or 6, even last week, we've had a guest say, we checked in, here was the photo of the toilet with a floating human waste in it, and we were shocked by it and shocked by the cleanliness levels, and we want a full refund. We want to stay here our last night. We want it for free, and we don't believe we should pay. They don't realise we take photos of inside the toilets. We check our photos, sure enough, here's the toilet, glistening and clean an hour before they got there. We send them the photo and say, here is the picture of the toilet an hour before you arrived. No more discussion, it's all finished. They've been caught out. You don't even get an argument on it. It's simply, they've been caught, they don't say anything, it just finishes. So at the end of it, cleaners have to take, and I started, which is every bedroom, all the bathrooms, the shower wall, the vanity, but dining rooms, lounge rooms, media rooms. But in the kitchen, it's not just, here's the kitchen and bench tops, it's photos of inside the fridge, inside the oven, inside the dishwasher, inside the microwave, inside the barbecue, which is out on the deck. Outside, it's also photos of pool. Our cleaners don't clean the pool. We have the pool people do that. But they take a photo because, once again, for guest verification, when a guest arrives and says, oh, the pool was filthy, you say, well, here are 2 photos. An hour before you got there, the pool is glistening. The fact that it's now got palm leaves and half a wheelbarrow full of dirt and leaves have actually come from your 5 kids. It's not the fault of the property or property manager. So you must have photos. If there's damage, the guest may say, oh, it was like that when we came. What we then do is go back and check the photos of the cleaner who cleaned the property. You look at it and go, no, the little hole in the wall there, you can see the wall's perfect. This was half an hour, 2 hours before you arrived, no hole. You've left, now there's a hole. Photo before, photo after. Photos are absolutely vital. I said earlier, if we don't have photos, it didn't happen. Photos are a must have photos. Next one we take photos for is if we're having any maintenance done, if our plumber goes out, electrician, whoever, we ask when they arrive, take a photo of whatever the problem is. If it's a bit hard if it's a light switch with, something's gone wrong. But if there's something where they can take a photo, they'll show a photo of what it looked like before, what it looked like after, and then it's all working now. and that just gets filed away in our maintenance report to make sure we've got a record of maintenance being done, work that's been completed, and the fact that the job was actually being done, that we've been invoiced and will pay on behalf of the owner. Last one for photos. This may seem minor, it may seem trivial, it may seem bizarre, but if you update anything in the property at all and the property changes the look, the colour, whatever, just retake your internal photos, whether get the property manager or to have the photographer just take those 1 or 2 or 3 photos again. We've had people complain because the property profile photos had a black couch and the owner has since bought a white couch. We've had photos redone. So the photos should reflect reality. It just gives people absolute certainty about what they have booked and gives them no cause for complaint or, my goodness, I need a refund because the couch is the wrong colour. As I said, photos are vital. In our busiest time with multiple guests, we can take 8,000 to 10,000 photos a week. We're still well over 1 million photos. Photos are vital. Photos are an incredible part of the management of your property. Photos are about protecting your asset, protecting your revenue, and making sure that false claims aren't just paid out by Airbnb or whoever simply because someone says it so. You have photos, you have evidence, can't argue against that. Thank you.